For centuries, the galaxy believed that a certain human colony had been lost forever. Records showed that a group of settlers had once left Earth during the early days of expansion, vanishing into the dark between stars. No signals were ever heard from them again, and no ships ever returned. To the rest of the galaxy, the colony was considered dead, nothing more than a forgotten note in history. But the truth was far more terrifying. That colony had not died. It had survived in silence, hidden away beyond the reach of the Galactic Council. Cut off from Earth and ignored by the galaxy, they faced harsh worlds, limited resources, and endless dangers. Yet instead of breaking, they hardened. They learned to adapt. They learned to fight. They built new cities in caves of frozen planets, they harvested energy from unstable suns, and they carved out life where no other species dared to live. Over centuries they became something different, something stronger. While the galaxy advanced openly with trade, politics, and technology, this lost colony advanced in secret. They had no allies, no treaties, no help from others. They had only themselves, and that made them united in a way the galaxy had never seen. They developed strange new sciences born from desperation, weapons designed not for display but for survival, ships made to kill rather than to travel. They taught every child discipline, every family sacrifice, every leader patience. In silence they forged a new kind of humanity. For generations they waited, never showing themselves, never revealing their strength. Until one day, their leaders decided the time of hiding was over. And when they moved, the galaxy was not ready. It began with a flicker on the edges of space. Galactic scanners caught faint movements near an unremarkable star system claimed by a minor alien race. At first the Council thought it was just smugglers or pirates. But the signals kept growing. Entire fleets appeared on long-range scans, but not any design known in the Galactic Register. The ships were sharp, dark, and heavy, moving in patterns no pirate fleet could match. Patrol ships were sent to investigate, but they never returned. Their last message was filled with confusion. These ships, they're human. The Council dismissed it at first. How could humans field such fleets? Earth's known colonies were small, still dependent on trade. Humanity was considered a minor race, brave but weak, clever but disorganized. The idea of a hidden colony rising with such power was unthinkable. Yet as reports grew, panic began to spread. Observers described massive carriers, warships with strange black armor, and weapons that bent light itself. They were disciplined, silent, and coordinated. And then came the message. It was short, cold, and final. This star system is ours now. The alien inhabitants of that system tried to resist. They sent out fleets, activated defenses, called for help from their allies. But the battle was over before reinforcements even arrived. The hidden humans struck with terrifying precision. Their ships did not hesitate, their weapons tore through shields like they were paper, and their soldiers fought with a ferocity the galaxy had not seen before. In less than a single rotation, the entire system had fallen. And when galactic fleets finally arrived, they found human banners already planted on every world, every station, every moon. The Council demanded answers, but the colony gave none. They simply repeated their claim, "This system belongs to us." It was not a request. It was a declaration. Whispers spread quickly across the galaxy. Who were these humans? How had they survived in silence for so long? How had they built fleets powerful enough to crush entire armies? And most of all, what did they want now? Some thought they only wanted territory. Others feared they wanted revenge. But the truth was even darker. This colony had not only survived, they had prepared. They had trained every generation for war, built every city for defense, and designed every weapon for conquest. For centuries their people had whispered one promise. One day they would rise again, and when they did, they would take what was denied to them. Now that day had come, and the galaxy was not ready. The Galactic Council gathered in their great chamber as the first reports arrived. Delegates from dozens of powerful species argued loudly, their voices echoing across the hall. No one wanted to believe the news. The idea that humans, a species considered minor and unimportant, could suddenly rise with fleets capable of conquering an entire system seemed impossible. Many claimed it was just lies spread by frightened colonies. Others shouted that it was the work of pirates using stolen technology. But the evidence kept piling up. Broken ships from the defeated alien patrols were recovered, their hulls burned with strange human weapons. Survivors spoke of soldiers who fought like machines, never retreating, never breaking. And worst of all, the intercepted message repeated itself across every frequency. This star system is ours now. Panic began to grow. Some members of the council demanded immediate war, believing the humans must be crushed before they grew stronger. Others warned that underestimating them would be a mistake. A few even suggested peace talks, but they were shouted down. The galaxy had seen many rebellions, but this felt different. This was not a group of rebels hiding in caves. This was an organized, disciplined force with the power to stand against entire fleets. As the council argued, traitors, civilians, and mercenaries whispered across the stars. Who were these humans? Where had they been hiding? How had they built such power in secret? Rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed the colony had discovered ancient alien technology. Others said they had found a hidden world rich in resources. A few whispered that maybe Earth itself had secretly armed them. But the truth was unknown, and the mystery only fueled fear. Meanwhile, the hidden humans showed no interest in diplomacy. They did not send ambassadors or requests. They did not answer calls or respond to warnings. They simply fortified the system they had taken. They built defenses, stationed fleets, and expanded their reach with terrifying speed. Patrol ships that ventured too close vanished without a trace. Spy probes sent into the system were destroyed in seconds. The message was clear: this was human territory now, and no one was allowed inside. The council sent a warning fleet to test their strength. Dozens of ships advanced toward the occupied system, expecting to intimidate the humans into retreat. Instead, the fleet was annihilated. The battle lasted less than an hour. Human warships struck with perfect timing, disabling communications and destroying the enemy before they could even organize. When the wreckage drifted back toward neutral space, the galaxy finally understood. This was not an accident. This was not luck. The humans had planned this for generations. The council chamber fell silent after hearing the battle report. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy faced an unknown enemy it did not control. Delegates looked at each other with fear, realizing they had underestimated a species they thought weak. The humans were not begging for survival. They were demanding power. Across the galaxy, smaller species who had long suffered under council rule began to whisper in secret. If humans could rise, maybe they could too. Oppressed colonies looked to the human banners with quiet hope. Meanwhile, the great empires saw only danger. They feared not only the humans themselves but the idea they represented. A lost colony, abandoned and forgotten, had survived and returned stronger than anyone expected. If that was possible, then nothing in the galaxy was secure. The council tried to calm the panic, but their decisions only revealed weakness. They argued over whether to send more fleets or to wait and watch. Some leaders wanted to crush the humans immediately, while others wanted to study them first. Every day lost only gave the humans more time to build, more time to prepare, more time to spread fear. Reports came in that the humans were already moving to secure nearby asteroid belts and moons. Their war factories were active day and night, producing ships at a pace that alarmed every strategist. The council sent spies, but none returned alive. It was as if the humans had anticipated every move. And then another message arrived, cold and merciless. We are not lost. We are not weak. This system belongs to us, and we will not stop here. The words echoed across the galaxy, repeated on every channel, burned into every mind. The reaction was shock and dread. Civilian populations began to riot in fear, demanding protection from their leaders. Merchants avoided human-controlled space, leaving trade routes unstable. Pirate groups fled the region, unwilling to risk encountering the hidden human fleets. The galaxy was unraveling, and the humans had only taken one system. In private meetings, alien leaders whispered their greatest fear. If the humans had survived in one hidden colony, how many others might exist? Could there be more fleets waiting in the shadows? More colonies preparing for war? The thought alone shook the council to its core. In desperation, some proposed negotiating with the humans, offering them recognition and trade. But others rejected the idea, saying that showing weakness would only invite further attacks. The debate went on endlessly while the humans kept advancing in silence. For the first time in history, the Great Council found itself paralyzed, unable to act, unable to predict what would happen next. The galaxy had always believed it controlled humanity, that humans were clever but small, brave but powerless. Now the galaxy understood the truth. The humans had not been lost. They had been waiting. Long before their sudden appearance shocked the galaxy, the lost human colony had lived through centuries of struggle that shaped them into something unrecognizable compared to the rest of humanity. When their first colony ships vanished into the dark, no one knew where they had gone, not even Earth. Those settlers drifted to the edge of known space and found themselves trapped in a region full of violent storms, unstable stars, and hostile worlds. At first many thought they would die, for the planets they landed on were harsh, with thin air, poisonous soils, and skies filled with radiation. Yet instead of surrendering, they adapted. Generation after generation learned to build underground shelters, harvest energy from unstable suns, and mine dangerous asteroids. Every mistake cost lives, but every life lost became a lesson. The children of that colony grew up breathing toxic air through filters, eating food grown in caves, and training their bodies from childhood to survive. They were hardened not by choice but by necessity, and this hardship forged a people unlike any other. They had no council to protect them, no alien allies to trade with, no friendly fleets to call for rescue. They had only themselves, and this isolation turned them into a society built on discipline and unity. Over time they stopped calling themselves survivors. They began calling themselves builders, warriors, and inheritors of a new destiny. Their leaders were not politicians or nobles but battle-hardened elders who had lived through starvation, plague, and endless storms. They demanded obedience not for power but for survival, and the people gave it willingly, for they knew that disunity meant death. As centuries passed, the colony developed technology that shocked even themselves. With no trade routes, they had to invent everything on their own. With no external knowledge, they created sciences born from desperation. Their ships were not designed for comfort but for strength. Their weapons were not designed for display but for killing. Their engineers learned to bend light into traps, to forge metals in volcanic furnaces, and to design war machines that could endure environments other species avoided. They became masters of turning weakness into power. What other species threw away as useless, the hidden humans transformed into tools of war. Every citizen was trained in combat from childhood, every family contributed to production, every leader was tested in fire. There were no soft hands in this society, no idle rulers, no wasted potential. In silence they grew, and in silence they prepared. Their leaders often told them a single promise passed down for centuries: one day we will rise. One day we will take our place in the stars again. To the galaxy they were dead, but to themselves they were waiting for the right moment. That moment finally came when their scouts discovered a nearby star system claimed by a weak alien species. The system was rich with resources, a perfect place to expand, and their leaders decided the time for hiding was over. They moved with purpose, not with hesitation. Entire fleets launched from hidden docks carved into asteroids, dark warships rising from the shadows like predators. When they entered the alien system, they did not announce peace or ask permission. They sent one clear message across all channels: this star system is ours now. To the aliens it seemed arrogant, but the hidden humans had not spoken empty words. Their fleets were disciplined, their weapons precise, and their soldiers merciless. The defenders fought bravely, but they were swept aside like dust in the wind. It was not just the technology that shocked observers but the way the humans fought. They did not waste shots, did not panic, did not retreat. Every move was calculated, every strike part of a larger plan. They fought as if every pilot, every soldier, had trained their entire life for this single moment. And in truth, they had. For centuries the colony had trained for survival, for centuries they had prepared for conquest. This was not the beginning of a war for them. This was the fulfillment of a destiny. Their leader, a man known only as the commander, watched the victory unfold from the bridge of his flagship. He did not celebrate, did not cheer. His face was calm, his voice steady as he gave orders. To him this was not triumph but the first step of a greater path. When the system finally fell under human control, he ordered the construction of fortresses, shipyards, and outposts. His message to the galaxy was clear: humanity was not lost, humanity was not weak, and humanity would no longer hide. The council was stunned, the galaxy was shaken, but for the hidden humans it was simply the rise of their world. They had waited in silence for too long. Now they would rise in fire, and nothing in the stars could stop them. The first true conflict between the hidden humans and the wider galaxy began not with diplomacy but with blood. After the fall of the alien star system, the Galactic Council decided they could no longer watch in silence. They feared that if this lost colony was allowed to grow unchecked, it would inspire rebellions across other species and weaken the Council's authority. So they prepared a demonstration of force. A coalition of alien fleets was assembled, made up of warships from several powerful empires. Their goal was simple: drive the humans out, destroy their fleets, and send a message that no lost colony could defy the galaxy. To the Council it seemed easy. After all, humans had been dismissed as a small species, clever but weak, aggressive but limited. The Council believed this colony had gotten lucky in one battle and that sheer numbers would crush them quickly. But they did not understand what kind of humans they were dealing with. When the coalition entered the captured system, they found it transformed. The once quiet sector now bristled with human warships, black and silent, moving in patterns too perfect to be chance. Orbital platforms had been built in record time, asteroid fields had been fortified into traps, and hidden mines floated in space like invisible predators. The alien commanders expected panic, retreat, or surrender. What they faced instead was cold, deliberate silence. The hidden humans made the first strike. Without warning, a wave of human fighters cut through the coalition vanguard, using weapons that bypassed shields and tore ships apart in seconds. Alien officers shouted in confusion, their formations collapsing before the battle had even begun. The humans attacked not with brute force but with terrifying precision. Every strike hit a vital system, every move disrupted communications, every ambush was prepared as if the humans had studied their enemy for years. The coalition tried to regroup, but their signals were jammed by human technology no one had ever seen before. Alien ships drifted helplessly as humans struck again and again, dismantling fleets piece by piece. What shocked the galaxy most was not the weapons but the discipline. Human pilots fought with no fear, no hesitation, no wasted motion. They flew like extensions of their machines, their voices calm as they destroyed ships far larger than their own. Soldiers boarded enemy vessels with brutal efficiency, cutting down defenders with a ferocity that chilled even hardened warriors. Alien commanders realized too late that these were not ordinary humans. These were generations of survivors, trained from birth for war. The coalition's larger ships tried to push forward, unleashing heavy fire, but the humans had prepared traps in the asteroid belts. Massive rocks were detonated at the perfect moment, crushing battleships under waves of debris. Mines hidden in gravity wells tore through cruisers. Every path the coalition took had already been calculated and turned into a death trap. Within hours, the proud coalition fleet was reduced to burning wreckage. Survivors fled, scattering into deep space, their morale broken. The humans did not chase them. Instead, they secured the battlefield, salvaging wreckage, capturing prisoners, and broadcasting a single message across all frequencies: "This system is human territory. Any who enter will be destroyed." The words spread like fire through the galaxy. Billions watched recordings of the battle, unable to believe what they saw. A lost human colony had not only survived but had crushed a fleet that should have destroyed them. On Earth, leaders watched in disbelief, realizing that their distant cousins had become something far beyond them. Some felt pride, others fear, but all knew that the galaxy would never treat humanity the same again. In the council chambers, chaos erupted. The defeat was an embarrassment unlike any other. Powerful species demanded revenge, calling for larger fleets to be sent. Others urged caution, pointing out that underestimating the humans twice could lead to disaster. Whispers filled the chamber. If the humans could destroy a coalition fleet so easily, how strong had they truly become? And most of all, how many more hidden colonies could exist in the dark? Meanwhile, the hidden humans celebrated not with cheers but with solemn determination. For them this was not victory but survival. Their leaders reminded them that this was only the beginning. Their enemies were vast, their challenges endless, and they would need even greater strength to rise further. Factories worked without pause, shipyards glowed with fire, and every citizen redoubled their efforts. They were not satisfied with holding one system. They had declared their return to the stars, and nothing less than dominance would satisfy them. Across the galaxy, fear began to turn into awe. Smaller species began to whisper of rebellion, inspired by the humans' defiance. Oppressed colonies dreamed of freedom, looking to the human banners as a symbol that the Great Council was not invincible. The galaxy was shifting, and all of it began with this first conflict. The hidden humans had risen, and with one victory they had shaken the foundations of galactic power. They were no longer forgotten, no longer dismissed, no longer weak. They had shown the stars that they were predators, and the galaxy had just learned to fear their name. The news of the coalition's defeat spread faster than light, carried by every channel, every trader, every whisper across the stars, and with it came fear that wrapped itself around the entire galaxy. The Council tried to hide the scale of the disaster, but recordings of the battle could not be contained. Billions watched as human warships cut through fleets that were supposed to be unstoppable. Billions listened to the cold human message that declared the captured system as their own. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy looked upon a species it had dismissed as weak and saw something terrifying. On the great worlds of powerful empires, people gathered in fear, asking their leaders how such a thing could be possible. Was humanity secretly stronger than anyone had known? Had the Council lied to them for centuries? Panic turned into unrest as populations realized that the balance of power was no longer certain. Merchants abandoned human borders, unwilling to risk their lives. Colonies demanded extra defenses, begging for protection that their governments could not provide. Pirates fled human-controlled space, whispering that there was no profit in going near the hidden humans, for death waited there. Even the strongest empires began to tremble as the question spread like a storm. If one lost colony could do this, how many others might exist? What if hidden human worlds were waiting in the dark, preparing to strike? The council chambers boiled with chaos. Delegates shouted at one another, some demanding war to crush the humans at any cost, others insisting that war would only bring further disaster. There were those who whispered of peace, of negotiation, of compromise, but their voices were drowned out by those who had already tasted humiliation and could not accept it. The council tried to form new strategies, but every attempt ended in fear and doubt. They could no longer agree on anything, for each empire saw the humans as a different kind of threat. Some feared rebellion within their own colonies, some feared military destruction, and some feared that the humans represented something far greater than war, the end of the council's control over the galaxy. Meanwhile, the hidden humans ignored the council's chaos. They did not seek negotiation, did not send ambassadors, did not answer questions. They simply built. Shipyards expanded across moons, factories lit up with endless production, training grounds echoed with the sound of soldiers drilling without pause. They acted not like a desperate colony defending itself, but like a rising empire preparing for conquest. Their silence was louder than words, their refusal to explain their purpose only deepening the galaxy's dread. Every passing day reports came in of human fleets expanding their patrols, seizing asteroid belts, fortifying mining stations, and pushing further out of their captured system. No one could stop them. No one dared to try. Even the strongest admirals of the galaxy hesitated, for the memory of the coalition's destruction haunted them. The Council began to send spies, hoping to uncover secrets of human strength, but none ever returned. It was as if the hidden humans had eyes everywhere, as if they knew in advance who was coming. Rumors spread that they had developed terrifying new intelligence systems, or perhaps had spies within the Council itself. Fear grew heavier with every failed attempt to pierce their defenses. Civilizations that had once mocked humanity now trembled at their name. In the great markets of trade worlds, alien merchants whispered warnings, "Do not cross the humans. They are shadows with fire in their hands." The idea that a species once thought weak could inspire such dread was unthinkable, yet it was real. Across the stars, smaller species began to dream of freedom. They looked at the hidden humans and saw not just conquerors but symbols of defiance. If humans could rise from abandonment and obscurity to strike fear into the galaxy, perhaps they too could break free from Council control. Secret meetings began on oppressed worlds, quiet discussions about rebellion and independence, always with one word at the center: humanity. The Council realized too late that their failure had done more than lose a battle. They had created a legend. The humans were no longer just a military threat. They were an idea, a story spreading faster than fleets could move, an example that power could be challenged and that forgotten voices could rise. In desperation, the Council considered building the largest fleet in history, a coalition of every major empire united to crush the humans once and for all. But even as plans were whispered, doubts grew. What if the humans had more fleets hidden away? What if this was only the beginning of their rise? What if the Council walked into another trap and suffered a defeat so great that its power would crumble forever? No answer brought comfort. Every path was filled with fear. The galaxy had lived in certainty for centuries, certain that the Council was untouchable, certain that order would never break, certain that small species could not rise. Now that certainty was gone, shattered by the rise of a forgotten human colony. And in the silence of that fear, humanity grew stronger. Their fleets were seen more often on the edges of space, their black ships gliding like predators, never speaking, never hesitating. Their presence alone was enough to send colonies into panic and fleets into retreat. The Council tried to reassure its people, but no one believed the old promises anymore. The galaxy had changed, and every species knew it. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy was afraid. The decision to make a final stand against the hidden humans came after months of fear and hesitation, when the Galactic Council could no longer deny that their authority was slipping away. Too many colonies whispered of rebellion, too many species questioned their leadership, and too many fleets had already been humiliated. The Council knew that if humanity was not stopped soon, the entire order of the galaxy would collapse. So they called for the greatest gathering of military power in living memory. From every empire and every powerful world, fleets were summoned, forming a coalition unlike any seen before. Thousands of warships, titans bristling with weapons, carriers filled with fighters, dreadnoughts larger than cities, all were ordered to march against the humans. The Council promised their people that this time the threat would be ended, that no lost colony could survive against the united power of the galaxy. Across the stars, billions watched the fleets move, believing they would soon witness the destruction of the upstart humans. But the hidden humans were not afraid. They had been preparing for this moment since the day they first returned to the stars. Scouts had long predicted that the Council would gather a great fleet, and every trap, every weapon, every tactic had been designed for this very battle. When the coalition entered human-claimed space, they found not panic but silence. Black human warships floated in perfect formation, blocking the way like a wall of shadows. The alien commanders laughed at the small number of ships, believing the humans had finally overreached, but the laughter died as the battle began. The humans struck with a precision that stunned even veteran admirals. Instead of charging into the mass of enemy ships, they scattered them, breaking the coalition's unity with sudden ambushes and lightning strikes. Hidden mines detonated under dreadnoughts, tearing them apart before they fired a single shot. Gravity traps pulled carriers into the path of human artillery. Fighters swarmed from hidden bases on asteroids, striking supply ships before vanishing again into the dark. The coalition responded with overwhelming fire, their weapons lighting up space, but the humans moved like ghosts, never where they were expected to be. Alien commanders shouted for their fleets to hold formation, but communications were jammed, signals cut, orders twisted into chaos. The humans had not only built weapons, they had mastered the art of confusion. Every fleet that tried to regroup found itself ambushed, every ship that tried to retreat was hunted down. Hours turned into days, and the battlefield stretched across the system, burning wreckage drifting in every direction. Billions across the galaxy watched in horror as their greatest fleet, the pride of the Council, was torn apart by what was still officially called a lost colony. But the true terror had not yet begun. In the heart of the battle, the humans revealed their greatest creation, a weapon whispered about in rumors but never believed. From behind a shattered moon emerged a massive warship unlike anything seen before. It was not sleek or beautiful but brutal, a mountain of black steel covered in weapons that glowed with unnatural energy. The humans called it the Spear of Silence. Its arrival turned the battle into a massacre. With one pulse it unleashed a wave of energy that silenced every alien system within range. Shields failed, weapons went dark, engines died. Entire fleets drifted powerless, easy prey for human guns. Alien commanders screamed in disbelief, their dreadnoughts collapsing under fire from smaller ships that moved with ruthless efficiency. The Council had thought numbers would save them, but the humans had known numbers would come, and they had built a weapon to erase that advantage. The galaxy had never seen such terror before. Billions watching the battle fell into silence as they realized the truth. Humanity was not fighting for survival, they were fighting for dominance. The coalition fleet, once the greatest in history, was reduced to scattered survivors fleeing into the void, their morale broken, their ships shattered, their pride gone. The Council's promise of victory turned into the greatest humiliation the galaxy had ever seen. When the battle ended, the humans did not cheer. They broadcast a message to every world, every station, every ship across the stars. Their leader, calm and steady, spoke words that shook the galaxy. "We are not lost. We are not weak. We are the future. The galaxy will change, and humanity will lead it." The silence after those words was heavier than any weapon. The Council had gambled everything and lost, and now they stood powerless before a force they could not understand. Across the stars, oppressed species listened to the message with hope, while the great empires listened with dread. The humans had proven that no fleet, no matter how large, could stop them. They had proven that discipline, unity, and patience could overturn centuries of power. And as their war factories burned brighter, as their fleets grew stronger, as their banners spread further, the galaxy realized a truth it could no longer deny. The age of the Council was ending, and the age of humanity had begun. After the Great Stand, the galaxy held its breath in silence for days, as the wreckage of the coalition fleet drifted across the stars like a graveyard. Billions watched the images of shattered dreadnoughts and burning carriers and could not believe their eyes. The strongest armada the Council had ever gathered had been destroyed, and the victors were not an ancient empire or a mighty alliance but the forgotten children of Earth who had once been written off as weak. Rumors spread faster than light, and fear spread even faster. Colonies far from human space asked if their defenses could hold if the humans came. Merchants raised prices as panic drove trade into chaos. The Council tried to release statements of strength, claiming that reinforcements would be prepared, but no one believed them anymore. Confidence in their rule had broken, and into that silence the humans spoke. Their leader appeared not as a politician but as a commander, standing on the bridge of his massive warship with banners of black and silver behind him. His voice was calm, measured, and merciless as it echoed across every channel in the galaxy. "We are not lost," he declared, his eyes steady as if he were speaking directly to every living being. "We are not weak. For centuries you ignored us, for centuries you thought us dead, but we lived. We fought. We endured. And now we rise. This system belongs to us, and it will not be the last. We are not asking for permission. We are telling you the truth. Humanity has returned, and the stars will change forever." The message sent shockwaves across every world. Some species wept in terror, believing the humans were announcing the beginning of a war that would never end. Others whispered in awe, inspired by the strength of a people who had turned exile into power. On planets ruled by oppression, Slaves and workers secretly cheered, daring to believe that maybe their masters were not invincible. The words of the human commander became more than just a threat, they became a symbol of rebellion. Alien rulers feared this more than the fleets themselves, for armies can be fought but ideas spread like wildfire. Across the council chambers chaos erupted once more. Some demanded the humans be declared enemies of all life, a threat to be exterminated without mercy. Others argued that the humans had proven too dangerous, that perhaps peace must be offered before more disasters came. Old alliances cracked as species turned against each other in fear of what the future would bring. For the first time in centuries the galaxy felt truly unstable, and all of it came from one colony long believed dead. Meanwhile the humans expanded their message with actions. They rebuilt the captured system into a fortress, turning every planet, moon, and station into strongholds. Their fleets patrolled with silent confidence, their ships broadcasting no signals but carrying banners that every scanner could detect. The galaxy called them shadows of steel, predators in the dark, a force that could not be reasoned with. Yet still smaller species looked at them with hope, because in the rise of the humans they saw proof that the Great Council was not eternal. Whispers of rebellion became secret meetings became plans, and plans became sparks ready to ignite. The humans had not only won battles, they had broken the illusion of control. The human commander knew this and used it with skill. He released another message, shorter but even sharper than the first. "We are the future," he said. "You may fear us, but you cannot stop us. The galaxy belongs to those who can endure, and we endured what you thought would kill us. Now we take what is ours." The galaxy trembled at those words. Armies prepared, but commanders hesitated. Fleets gathered, but no one wanted to face the humans again. Traders cursed them, yet told stories of their strength. Civilians feared them, yet secretly admired them. The humans had become both monsters and legends, hated and feared, but also respected in ways the Council could not erase. For the first time in history, the galaxy no longer looked at the Council as its unshakable center. It looked at humanity, a species that had once been ignored, and saw the future reshaping before its eyes. The galaxy had changed forever after the human victory and their message, and though the Council still sat in its great chambers pretending to hold power, everyone knew the truth that could no longer be hidden. Humanity was no longer a forgotten colony or a whisper in the dark. They had become a force that shaped the future of every species, and now all eyes turned toward them to see what they would do next. The humans wasted no time, for they knew hesitation was weakness, and weakness was death. They secured their star system with layers of defenses so strong that even the bravest alien commanders admitted it could not be breached. Their war factories burned day and night, producing ships faster than the galaxy believed possible, and their engineers built weapons no one else understood. Weapons that bent gravity, weapons that silenced machines, weapons that shattered fleets with a single strike. But what made the humans truly powerful was not only their weapons, it was their unity. Where the Council fought with endless politics and betrayal, the humans moved with one voice, one goal, one future. And that future was expansion. Soon scouts reported human fleets appearing in nearby systems, not as raiders but as conquerors. They did not destroy the planets they took, instead they offered a choice: join us or be swept aside. Many worlds surrendered without a fight, their rulers terrified, their people whispering that maybe the humans were the better choice. On oppressed colonies, rebellions rose in the name of humanity, tearing down the banners of the Council and raising new ones marked with the human crest, a simple but terrifying symbol of black and silver. For every system the Council tried to hold, two more slipped from their grip, and the chain of power that had ruled for centuries began to crumble link by link. The Council sent more fleets, but none returned in victory, and whispers began to spread that fighting humans was like fighting the night itself. You could strike at the darkness, but the darkness always swallowed you whole. Soon even the proudest empires, once loyal to the Council, began to hesitate. Some tried to send envoys to the humans, seeking peace, but the humans did not negotiate like the Council. They did not bow, they did not beg, they only stated their terms: recognition, freedom, and respect. Those who accepted lived, those who denied vanished in flames. It was not cruelty for its own sake, it was a lesson, one the humans repeated again and again until no one could mistake it. The galaxy learned that humanity did not bluff, humanity did not hesitate, humanity did not forget. And slowly a new order began to take shape. One not built on the fear of the Council's old laws but on the sharp clarity of human strength. Species that had once been ignored now spoke openly, emboldened by human victories. Worlds that had been silent under oppression now sent signals of freedom, some even calling for human fleets to come and protect them. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy was no longer balanced on the Council's throne but on the actions of a single rising power. On Earth, the forgotten homeworld, the message reached at last, and its people who had believed their lost kin gone forever now saw what they had become. There were tears of pride, fear, and awe as they realized humanity was no longer divided. The lost colony had not only survived, it had returned stronger than any could have dreamed, and now Earth itself would be part of a destiny that stretched across the stars. The Council tried one last desperate act, calling for all species to unite again, to stop the humans before it was too late, but this time no one listened. Their words rang hollow, their promises broken. The age of their dominance was gone, and the galaxy no longer trembled before them. It trembled before humanity. At the heart of their growing empire, the human leader stood once more before the galaxy and spoke. His voice carried across every world, every ship, every station. The time of the Council is over. The galaxy belongs to no throne, no single empire. It belongs to those who endure, those who rise, those who fight for their future. We are humanity. We were forgotten, but we endured. We were abandoned, but we rose. Now we claim our place, not as subjects, not as slaves, but as leaders. A new age begins, and humanity will guide it. Billions listened, and in that moment the stars themselves seemed to shift. Some feared the coming age, others embraced it, but none could deny it. The forgotten colony had become the torch that lit the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same again. Humanity had risen, humanity had conquered, and humanity had become the new power that would shape the destiny of the stars.